right, hello, welcome back to Time with the Captains, your monthly business mentorship program live on TV3. Just to inform you that we're live on TV3. We're also streaming live on Facebook. It's news on TV3. Tonight, as I mentioned early on in my introduction, we've got students from the African University College of Communications, the Sam Jonas School of Business, as well as students from the Methodist University College. Let me quickly introduce my guest to you. She was in 2016 honored at the Ghana Property Awards and also recognized as the Businesswoman of the Year by the Ghana Economic Forum at its Excellence Award. That was in 2016. The European Business Assembly in Germany recently also adjudged her the Best Manager. Other achievements include winner of the 2013 Ernst & Young West Africa Entrepreneur of the Year, one of Africa's most influential women in business. She was on the 18th of October 2014 crowned the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana Marketing Woman of the Year. So this is quite an accomplished woman. You know, let the applause come. Let them come. Let them come. Let them come. Right, and thank you very much. And incidentally, she happens to be the very first female on Time with the Captains. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, join me. Welcome Mrs. Kate Quartey Papafio. She's a Chief Executive Officer of Reroy Cables. Thank you very much, Mum, for your time. And good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Great. So, those of you at home, just to remind you again that we're streaming live on Facebook. It's news on TV3. Feel free to share with us a comment or a question and pose it to Madam Kate Quartey Papafio. I'll start off with you, Mum. You've been in business since 1992.
Yes, that's right.
What inspired your getting into business?
It's always interesting to know. I often say that entrepreneurship is actually born with. We all, in our DNAs, we have what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
So you were born an entrepreneur?
I would say that I was born an entrepreneur because it always happens that you are there to solve problems. And problems comes to you only when you think and know what to do. It's interesting to know that in business, everybody is born to be a business person because right from birth, there is something in you, and that thing is special. That is why we all have different eyes, different thumbprints. We are all very special people, and I think we can be who we want to be if only we put our mindset to it.
So why the power industry?
It's so interesting. I actually started off at the age of 9. 9. When I said to myself that I don't want anything that will go out of negatives in terms of what to do, not to even get yourself into negative issues. So I started off at the age of 9, started selling kerosene. You just have to start and you'll be there. I started off with a gallon of kerosene.
How has it been? What's the feeling been like, being a woman in industry?
It's so interesting. In fact, being a woman in industry, that is where you get all the helps. Because as a woman, we always make sure that we pay attention to details. And we make sure that we deliver. And also, knowing who we are, we plan and we execute. So being a businesswoman in the industry of men domain, there is always a support. Of course, you need a support from your home first. Your partner needs to understand where you are coming from because he knows that I go in the morning, I come back late. And you need someone who is actually can understand your passion. So in business, it's quite interesting.
So how many workers do you have now?
We have about 200.
You employ about 200 people.
Thank you.
Give me the trajectory of the business. You started with how many workers?
In fact, I started all by myself. And then I said, well, how can you be in business all by yourself? Let me take a secretary. Let me train the secretary. Let me actually also get people to help. In the nutshell, you cannot be in business and call it organization with one person. But you also need to know that it takes two.
It takes two to tango.
It takes two to tango. So in business, you need to form a team. So when we started all by myself, and I decided to just bring a team on board to support.
You'd often, find women in the vocational sector. You'd often find women as air hostess and all that. Nobody would ever imagine a woman getting into the power industry. Do you study anything related to power?
No, not at all. As I said, that I started at the age of 9, because at one point in time when one was young, I mean, I can go on and on and on, but let me cut it short. We went to the village and I decided, well, this is where it's quite interesting. I went with an uncle of mine. And he said, oh, what are you doing at home? I said, well, I don't want to go anywhere that is far. He gave me this. I came back home with avocado pears. And I realized that some of them, with all the effort that I put in, some of them got rotten. And I said, no, I won't allow myself to go out with any negatives. Let me just rather use the process to turn out to something that can always be useful. So I went into a gallon of kerosene and I started with that. And I realized that it was going down well. And that is where I said to myself, let me just start lighting and light Africa and light Ghana. Because I started where, as a young youth, at a young age, people were just using these kerosene lanterns. So I started by just giving it to them. Put it in your lantern, finish up, and let me come and collect my proceeds. And that is how I started, at a tiny age.
And that's what's become the story of Leroy Cables.
That is what becoming the story of Leroy Cables.
It's a very capital-intensive industry, and I'm just wondering and asking myself, how much did you need to start up this business?
In fact, what you need to start up is you yourself. It's capital-intensive.
Did you have any backing from family?
No. You have
Did you take a loan from the bank?
No, you have to start all by yourself. That's the question. Know who you are and what you want to achieve, and be perseverance. And make sure that whatever you do, you pay attention to details. That's the key. And honesty. That's the key word. Because it all happens that, well, people will trust you, but you have to let your word be your word.
Shortly, I'm going to be bringing in our students from the African University College of Communications and Sam Jonas School of Business, as well as students from the Methodist University College who are studying business as well. But just before I bring them in, you've been doing this for some time, and I know you've employed people from the universities. How much of premium do you place on academic performance?
In fact, the key...
on academia.
Academia. We actually have a training session for them. We take them out for them to be trained, not only Ghana, but also outside. And I think the key thing is for you to invest in the right people, because it takes a whole lot in terms of research, in terms of the modern trends, in terms of how they can apply their knowledge to the practical aspects of the industry. First and foremost, they should know the industry that they would like to belong and the industry that interests them.
Do you care at all what people study in school?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, it's quite interesting. It's always good that, initially you say that, well, I would like to be a lawyer, I would like to be a doctor, I would like to be an engineer, but search yourself. Who are you? Who do you want to be? And the passion that you have actually will also project who you will be. Because it's always nice for you to think that, well, I think I would like to be a doctor, yes. But do you have the passion for it? Some people will study medicine, but in a nutshell, they would turn up to be engineers because they think that they, in fact, in medicine, yes, engineering, because they also do operations and all that. They operate on people. But in a nutshell, you have to look at it who you are. As you want to just project and add value to your core attributes, it's nice when you know that, well, I think I have a passion to be a lawyer. Then you know that your communication skills have got to be very good, because in other words, you have to understand what you are doing. So in terms of industry, first know where you want to play part and play it well.
quickly, tell me a bit about your business and the portfolio of businesses that you run. You are into cable manufacturing.
Yes.
Tell me about
It's so interesting because, of course, in cable manufacturing, you need to have the aluminium, which we actually have it locally. Thank God with our president. I mean, we have the bauxite here, which when you refine, you get aluminum.
Aluminum, right.
Yes. And then we also have the PVC. Thank God we have the oil here that we can get the PVC from it. We have in the industry, I mean, Leroy per se as a group is a supply chain. We have the cables aspect of it. And with the cables, you need components to match the cables. So also like power, that's trying to put it up the transformers and to assemble them locally. And then also the metal that you can get the ingots and all that from it. And then the energy aspect of it.
What kind of sterling attributes do you require to be able to understand such an industry and to be able to manage over 200 workers? What do you need?
You need a lot of patience. The key, you need a lot of patience because the work itself is not difficult like the people you work with. And they need to understand your vision because having the vision is you. And putting it into practice is also something that they need to understand you. And it's not easy when it comes to business. I mean, you can be quite lonely sometimes because people think that you are difficult. You are not difficult because they don't understand you and they don't know where you are coming from. You have a vision, you want to achieve it. You need a team to work with. It takes people who understand your vision. So you need to
interrupt. It takes people who understand your vision.
Yes.
Just to inform you, you're still watching Time with the Captains live on TV3. Our guest for the month of May, our captain for the month of May is Mrs. Kate Quartey Papafio. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Leroy Cables, and she's our guest on the program tonight. Let me just engage our audience. These are students from the University, Methodist University College, as well as the African University College of Communications. If you've got any questions to ask Madam Quartey Papafio, kindly put your hands up. I'll extend the microphone to you. You identify yourself, tell us where you're coming from, and then you ask your question. So who's going to do the first question? Great. I see. Okay, so let's have the first question.
Thank you very much. My name is Frederick Ni Aite Ato from African University College of Communication, a final year student. And I'm pleased this question goes to you. I want to find out how did you resist your own interest? In terms of, you resist your own interest in terms of probably your relatives is coming to you for something. And secondly, at what point in time do you think you need an attorney? Thank you very much.
At what point in time do you need
an attorney, probably a lawyer, should in case.
Okay. An attorney.
All right. Okay. Sure.
Thank you.
Next question.
Yeah, I am famous Amewolo, African University College of Communication. My question is similar to his, but in our society, especially in Ghana, once someone becomes successful in the society, friends, family, the community has a large look up onto that person and becoming over-dependent on the person. And that's how do you balance such situations? Thank you.
Final question for this round.
My name is David Frimpong from Africa University College of Communication. Madam, I'm very impressed with your presentation so far. Thanks so much for inspiring us.
You're welcome.
My question is, in reality, the things you learn in school and when you come to the field of practice, just as you said, people seem not to understand you because of the passion and the vision you have. How have you been able to blend that to push through for these people to work with you? Because the saying goes that the same Ghanaian, when find himself outside the walls of Ghana, does marvelously well. Then here we are finding ourselves struggling. How have you been able to motivate and build a team here to get you to where you are? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your questions. We'll take responses from our guest.
It's so interesting. The first question, as you always know, Ghana is a very small place. And if you say that you are doing well, in fact, right from home, there is always issue. But then you don't have to give up at all. It comes in, the issues are coming because you know you can solve it. You should understand where they are coming from. They are looking up to you. How are you going to inspire them? Let them know that they are also capable. Because it comes in not only looking for financing, because if they don't know what they want, you can give them the whole world, they won't know what to do with it. But if they know what they want, you give them a little, you can push them up. And I'm of a view that you have to start from somewhere. Coming together, knowing that you have done it. In fact, you haven't even started because we are always learning. From school is only theory, but when it comes to practicals, that is when you go out. That is where you start your university. And you will never finish learning.
So there was a second question also obviously related to balancing pressure and family.
It's interesting for you to know that, in fact, as a businesswoman, you need to plan and you plan well. It's always interesting. I always tell my husband that, listen, from 8 o'clock, I'm not your wife. And he understands me so perfectly. Because then he said, oh, yes, madam. I said, yes, we are talking. After that, once I'm back home, I'm your wife. It's interesting, you have to blend it, because here we are in Ghana. You have a lot of dependents. You have your families, you have your friends, you have your mates, you have your church. You have a whole lot that you need to service all of them. What it takes is planning. And make sure that you allot your time well, not to waste the time at all. Allot it well, plan and execute and enjoy it. Because if you are not enjoying what you are doing or enjoying your family, whom else will enjoy them? So enjoy being home, enjoy being family, enjoy going to church, enjoy being the activities, be part of it. But allot your time well and you'll be able to achieve all.
And then the final question was how you manage your people, your workers, I think.
It's interesting to know that, I mean, once you get out there, I always say that first you start from the gate. You are the security. You are everything. But how are you going to put all that together? They have to understand, well, the do's and the don'ts. It's very difficult when you are managing people. That is why in business you need other hands. But it also comes in that they should just know that they are there to play part as a team. Because you can't do everything. I mean, one moment they think that, well, as a team, well, I mean, the work is not mine. But the work is yours because you are there. If it's not yours, then you don't have to be there. So it's interesting for them to know that it's a team, that you have to build up a good team. And to motivate them, let them understand your vision. And flow with them. I mean, at one moment you'll be nice with them. At one moment you say, hey, you don't have to say a lot. Just open your eyes and they know what you mean because they understand you.
All right. Thank you very much. Please, we're going to take a short commercial break. When we return, we'll take more questions. This is Time with the Captains live on TV3. You're welcome back to Time with the Captains live on TV3. Our guest for the month of May is Mrs. Kate Quartey Papafio. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Leroy Cables, and she's our guest on Time with the Captains for this month. We've also got students from the university, the Methodist University College, as well as the African University College of Communications, and they've been asking questions of our captain today. I'm going to go back to our audience and take more questions from them. Who's got the microphone? Your name and your question.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Hello. Yeah. Good evening, ma. My name is Raina Tuisa from Methodist University College. My question is, Being a woman in the industry, what has been your major challenge in the industry? Thank you.
Next question.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Anderson David, Methodist University College. I want to know this. How are you coping with competitors or competitions in the industry? Thank you.
Final question.
Thank you very much, madam. Very interesting to hear from you this evening.
Okay.
My question is, what are your value systems and how does it shape how you lead Leroy Cables Limited? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll start with the very first question from, is it Rihanna too?
Rihanna too.
Okay, she wanted to find out what your major challenge is as a woman in industry.
It's interesting because as a woman, it's always, I mean, as a woman, always a woman. But we play all parts in terms of the industries. It's quite interesting to know that you face challenges, yes, because sometimes they ask you, but this is a men's world. How come you are here? But it's like, okay, it takes two. When it comes in terms of a woman being in business, what defines you to say that you are a man, you can do this business and the woman cannot? But often said than that, you have to also have the passion for it. It's not an easy task. I mean, sometimes you can go through a lot of loneliness because you ask yourself, but they are all men, and any time you go out there, it's all by yourself, which is quite good because you tend to actually get all the attention, which makes it more interesting.
And all the favors as well.
And all the favors, actually, which makes it more interesting, but also it's quite challenging because you have to combine all that. And it's only when you decide that, well, I'm going to give up. And in business, you don't have to give up. You face through the challenges, you go through it, because challenging makes you more actually successful. Well, you can solve problems and you can solve issues.
So you've got a tough skin.
Oh, you should have a tough skin to be in business, especially in Ghana.
The next question was about competition and how you managing competition within the industry.
Well, it's not easy because, I mean, in Ghana, you know, we are now coming up. But when you look at the industry in terms of the cabling, in terms of new trends, I mean, it gives you the opportunity to actually expand your scope. Because what is it that other people are doing that is not, I mean, they have to bring it from outside. So this is where it's actually a good task, where you can expand your scope in business. The competition is key.
And how have you expanded over the years?
Well, it's quite, I mean, gradually, you know, because competition is keen, but it also toughens you, and it also makes you think better. In fact, it's actually, there's more of you just trying to make sure that you are going to give quality service. In terms of the industry, it's not easy because things are changing. The whole world is actually coming up with new things, fiber, this, that. So day in and day out. But this is where you have to actually also look at it at a point where you can add value, you can better your service and pay more attention to details and prompt service.
I did hear you talk about honesty in your presentation, and that brings us to my very final question that was posed by the gentleman. It says, what are your value systems and what do you operate with?
Honesty, integrity, perseverance, attention to details.
You've never lied as a businesswoman?
I mean, sometimes, I mean, you look at it and say that, well, what would I say to this? It's interesting. I mean, I quite remember when we started, I mean, with the mobile phones, you said that, where are you? And it's like, oh, where should I say that I am? It's like, okay, are you on your way? Yes, I'm on my way. But then, it also comes in, because you want to deliver quality and you want to actually give your best to the society, the key value is honesty. Some of us started with no capital at all.
I find it very hard to believe, you know, when people say they started with no capital at all. I mean, these are young people who are almost finishing school, they want to start their own business, and you tell them, oh, I started with no capital.
Yes, it comes in. That is the person that you are talking about, that me and you, I want to be this. I want to start this business.
You've got to start with something.
You've got to start with something. You've got to.
And you know about the very high interest rates, Richard, don't you?
Well, actually, that is it also makes it much interesting, because this is where you have to sit down and do your sums well. But if I'm talking about no capital, in terms of capital injection yourself, because you will start in where you will go in and say that, well, listen, you open up an LC, say that, well, in the bank the interest rate is high. But open up the LC, by this time, I will make sure that I will deliver. If you said that you are giving me 90 days, deliver the 90 days. It's difficult, this part of the world, but it's also interesting because that makes you be on your toes. And you have to make sure that you will start, nevertheless, start small. And starting small is how you're going to calculate your timing and the time waste. What are the things that you do? Take stock of yourself. The beginning of the week, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? What have you done today that is going to earn you something in terms of profitability, your time consumption? So you start from the week, the day, the month, the year, and you even calculate some of the things that you did that you shouldn't have done, which is a waste. So next time you'll better it.
We'll take on our next set of questions. Where's the microphone? Who's got the microphone? I'll take the question from this lady. Kindly pass the microphone on to this lady. Quickly.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Is the microphone on? Kindly put it on. Tell us your name and ask your question.
Hello?
All right, so while they sort out that microphone, what's been your most difficult decision ever as a chief executive officer of a company? What's the most difficult decision you've had to take?
It's interesting for you to know that sometimes maybe you've worked with people and you get used to them. People get used to you. They know what you want. They know the do's and the don'ts. And sometimes they just misbehave. What would you do to them?
You've got to fire them?
You've got to fire them.
You've done that?
Oh, of course. And it's difficult, but you have to. Because that's the only way that you can get them straightened up. Then the other people will learn from it.
You take disciplinary action against your workers when they go wrong?
Well, you give them the chance, let them redeem themselves. But if not, it's like, okay, maybe sometimes they grow wings. So what would you do? Just go and sit, relax, think about it. And if you think it's okay with you, you can come back.
I'll take the question from the lady.
Okay. Good evening, Mom. In fact, we are privileged to be here to learn under your feet, to as budding entrepreneurs, to also be like you. Please, my question is that...
Your name?
I'm Adelaide from the Sam Jonah School of Business.
Okay.
In our part of the world, normally, there has been the notion that as a woman, for you to get to the top, you would have to do that at the neglect of family, like your social life. But you've been able to challenge that notion. So I would want to find out how you were able to do that.
Interesting, Adelaide.
My name is Kweku Bochisapon from AUCC. I know of a lot of entrepreneurs, and many of them have more than a business. I want to know if Madam have more than one business.
Final question.
Thank you very much. And Madam, it's a privilege for me to learn under your feet. There is this statement that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. How relevant is this statement in the life of today's entrepreneur?
Thank you very much. Kindly pass the microphone on to those at the back. Those are the very rare. Madam, we'll take your responses to these questions.
It's interesting. First and foremost, I will say to my lady that to blend in all, you need to have a good planning. You have to plan your day. You plan your week. Getting into planning your week, you should know what you want to achieve first. and then you balance it with the one that the time you think that you can get a quick results, not to waste too much time. When it comes as a point of family, in fact, you should make time for them, but they know that from a certain time they cannot come and see you. Not for them to just walk in and say that, well, I'm around the neighborhood and I decide to come and visit you. You have to tell them that I'm sorry I have to go because I have this appointment I need to meet. So when it comes to that, you have to put your foot down. Because here we are, Ghana is a very small place. And people always just think that, well, if I go, I know definitely that she's going to see me. But you have to sometimes prove them wrong. So I think that is the way you should go about it.
How many businesses do you have?
Well, you will say that as a business, you say that you are doing business, but you are also an investor. Invest in various businesses in terms of how you want other people to grow themselves. So most of the times, you don't say that, well, I'm starting this business off from the scratch. But then you also invest your time, you invest your finances sometimes, you also invest your tuition and how you can also motivate them. So investment comes in so many ways, but you should know exactly which one that gives you the return.
I'm afraid you haven't answered the question.
Yes, sorry about that.
Leroy Cables is a group of companies.
Yes, it is.
What are your portfolio of businesses?
It's a complete supply chain.
Okay.
Because we're looking at the cable side of it. We are also looking at the power that gives you the accessories, the components for the power. We're looking at the metal aspects, that you can get the metal from it. Some of them are recycling, some of them are scraps. I mean, most of the times production comes with scrap where you have to also remelt it. And then it also comes into power generation. I mean, at the moment we are looking at the solar aspect of it, because after all is said and done, you need to generate power. You need to get a power that can actually cut costs where industries can actually thrive. So these are the areas that we are looking at.
So in all you have investments in how many, 5 areas?
Yes.
Okay.
Investment in 5 areas.
Okay, we've got just about 5 minutes to wrap up. Let me give the opportunity to those other to ask questions as well. Who's got the microphone? Your name?
My name is Clement Ni Aikwe from Methodist University College, Ghana. My question is, what do you feel is the major difference between entrepreneurs and those who work for someone else? I mean, those who have a job.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Good evening, Ma. My name is Marvelous Onoche. Please, as a successful businesswoman, do you still have any challenges? Do you still go through any challenges, any difficulties?
All right. Yes. Thank you. Next question.
I thank you very much for your for this. I mean, what you've taken us through. My question here is that, looking at the success level you are now, what are some of the things you did differently and innovatively that leads to this level of success?
Thank you. Final question. I'll take it from the lady. Okay, I can give opportunity to 2 ladies to ask a question. I've got 1 lady there. Do you want to ask a question as well? Okay, so you ask me a question, and I'll give the final one to the lady who's just there. Your name?
My name is Priti Ayobatoye Ebiarete from Methodist University. Please, I want to ask your innovative ideas. What ideas do you come up when you were starting the business?
All right, thank you. Final question to you.
Okay. I'm Sharifa Abukari from Methodist University College. As an entrepreneur, I'm sure you go through many challenges. How do you overcome them, and how does your family support you?
Okay, let me give it to this final gentleman here. He's itching to ask a question.
I'm Neodo Yakwanan from Legon, University of Ghana, Legon. I want to ask if there's a point in time where you think your business is inferior to other businesses. That's because you are dealing with the metal part, but since we are advancing, people are using fiber optic cables and things. So what do you plan in keeping the competition?
All right, thank you very much. So the first question, what's the difference between an entrepreneur and those who work for people?
In fact, to be an entrepreneur, if you said that you're working for people, you are working. So more or less, you are part of it. So then the question goes that business owners, no, it's a teamwork. So once you get up in the morning and you are there, you are part of the team. So you have to start from the very beginning. That why am I going out? What are the attributes? What is it that I'm going to add to where I'm going? So first and foremost, going out there, you are part of a team. So you are actually going to facilitate a team. Not you are just working for somebody. No, that is not the case. The case is you yourself.
Would you encourage a lot more entrepreneurs?
Oh, well, of course, yes. I would like to encourage more entrepreneurs because there are so many things that we are bringing from outside that we have to start from here ourselves because we've got all that it takes. We have the raw materials, we have everything. So why bring it from outside? We can bring them from outside to learn from them. We can go out there to learn and come back home to implement. So it's not just only going out there to learn, but also how you're going to implement it and make sure that you are going to succeed.
There's a question about whether or not you feel inferior to other people's products.
Not at all.
In the age of innovation, in the age of new products coming in?
Not at all. I would say that not at all. In a nutshell, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, Ghana, okay, of course, you can look at even our wiring system. It's been in existence for years. This is the time that we need to say that, well, listen, what are we going to do to actually add value by even changing all the wires that we have in the old buildings? It comes saying that our system and our environment calls for innovations because there are new things coming up all the time. I mean, as we are now, I'm just thinking of how I'm going to add to our existing business, how we're going to expand to even create more jobs, to how we are going to add value. Because when you look at it, quite recently, we came up with innovation with fire resistance, that whenever there is fire, you can actually pull the cables out to use them again. But it also comes in with costs. And people don't understand. You need to educate them and let them know that, well, listen, you want something that even when there is fire, touch wood, you can bring.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an accomplished entrepreneur. In 2016, she was honored at the Ghana Property Awards and also recognized as Businesswoman of the Year by the Ghana Economic Forum at its Excellence Awards. In 2016, she was on the 18th of October 2014 crowned the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana Marketing Woman of the Year 2013. She's got over 200 workers. Please show her some love. She also happens to be our she happens to be our first female to have joined us on Time with the Captains. She's been such an exciting guest on the program. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you for making time of your busy schedules to be here with us tonight. For students from the African University College of Communications as well as students from the Methodist University College, please put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you very much for joining us. Immense appreciation to you. And let me say a big thank you to you, madam, as well, for making time and taking time of your busy schedule to be with us for this program. It's been exciting engaging you. We appreciate your time. God willing, same time. Hopefully next year, we'll touch base with you again.
That would be nice.
And I'm sure by that time, you may have grown and expanded your business further. Thank you very much. Viewers, thank you also. It's unfortunate we're unable to also robe in your contributions on our Facebook page. It was due to limited time. Hopefully next month, we will engage you as well. Thanks very much for watching. God willing, same time next month, we'll come your way with yet another edition of Time with the Captains. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.